Hello and welcome to tonight's live, which I'm going to be honest is probably going to be a little bit different to what we would usually be discussing, which is usually around the topic of all things mindset. Now, don't get me wrong, I do often talk about energy, manifestation, law of attraction, all of those beautiful things. But I'm going to be sharing a little bit more of my journey with you tonight. That's actually, and spirituality has been a huge part of that. And it feels like now is the time to share this. It's something that I knew was coming. I probably could have done this months and months ago. But I always believe in the divine time. And something yesterday after a meditation was like, now is the time. And I say a big hello as you come on. I didn't even think twice. I quite literally opened up my phone. You could probably see as well, those of you that actually joined through the Facebook group, the image was just a random one that I screenshot. It wasn't even a proper image that I'd put together. So it was very off the cuff. And in fact, I've made a couple of notes, but I'm going to keep it really, really free tonight. Probably a little bit vulnerable to some degree. And just share some truths and some ways in which you can begin to feel more connected and guided yourself. Because here's the thing, and I'm going to jump straight into one of the many, many things. Hello, hello, hello. Let me know how you are. The thing is, when we're going through this life and we are just simply using our mind, i.e. mindset, to bust through goals, barriers, breakdowns of relationships, the loss of loved ones, redundancies, pandemics, just financial issues, life, and we are physically pushing through those barriers, there comes a point where you hit a certain level, and let me know if you resonate with this, but you will hit a certain level by simply just using your mind and resilience and your body to keep going, getting up every day rather than pulling the duvet over your head, when you kind of feel like, holy crap, is this it? I feel like I'm giving my all, yet I'm empty. Yet I feel like there's more that I could be doing or should be doing. We love that word, don't we? What else is there? Like, life's too short. How many times do we hear that? And there is. And I'm going to share a little bit about my journey now, because I kind of knew this from a very, very young age, but I was almost taught not to believe it. I was like, I had it shook out of me. Come on, put yourself together. Oh, you're a dreamer and all of that lot. And I wholeheartedly, not only on my own personal journey, but with my clients, with the academy, with private conversations that I have with incredible friends, healers, just my wonderful friends. I'm just going to call them my friends. We have so many chats about these things that I'm like, we always say, bloody hell, if only we could have a megaphone. Bloody hell, if only we put this on a podcast. Oh my God, I wish we were streaming that live. But there's this slight apprehension, or at least there was. And I feel like it's ready to whip that down now, because this needs to be accessed, I personally believe. And if you're listening tonight and this resonates, flipping fantastic. The awakening journey is very unique. We are all on a journey of awakening, I personally believe. Where you are on yours depends on your life, on your life path. You might be tuning in tonight and this be something that you need to hear more than anything, and it changes your trajectory in life. I've been on lives before. I've heard things being said in books or over a conversation or an event that I've been to, and it has completely changed my life. You might be sat here thinking, I'm going to give this woman another 5 minutes, but something better must be on TV. It's just not your time. It's just not your time to hear that. There's nothing right or wrong in this life. Yes, Amber, now is the time. So I'm going to share a little bit first about my personal journey. So rewind to when I was a little kid. I was incredibly spiritual. And obviously, as a little kid, you don't really realize that. I was so into star signs, and I'm talking like really, really young. My auntie brought me back this huge thing from India when she went traveling, and it was purple, this big purple mat, and it had all the star signs on. I used to constantly have purple feet because the ink would get into my socks and my feet. And I became very open to this from a very, very young age. In my school books, I wanted to be a ghost hunter. That was the job. When other people were saying, I want to be a vet, I want to be a nurse, I wanted to be a ghost hunter. I had a friend called Pete the Poltergeist. This probably ties in a little bit, but my name, Carol Ann, is actually named after the little girl in the Poltergeist, but let's not really go too deep into that. But I used to see things all the time. I would be going through these trees. We used to have something near us called the settlement, and it had all these big trees, and I used to go there, and I used to sneak little tea lights out of the house and sit in a tree, and I'd welcome in spirits. I hadn't seen that anywhere, but it was something so natural to me as a kid. Let me know if you think that's absolutely nuts and you had nothing like that as a kid. Or did you have something? Did you have a make-believe friend? Did your parents have a story about you? So anyway, I remember once, and this was probably one of the very first real world experiences that I had, and I really remember, was my mum used to clean at a big person's house. I'm just going to say that because you guys will probably know the company. It was a local, beautiful, big house. And it just so happened every 2 weeks I would have a sore throat or something because I wanted to go there. And they had these two big Labradors. And I basically just wanted to play with the dog. So I pretend to be ill and I would go. And I would go to this house. And I remember being in this huge living room in the countryside and walking through these double doors and being almost taken aback by this sound of angels singing, to the point where I shoved my hands over my ears, and then I did that, and I was like trying to look around for where my mum was in this huge house, because I thought, is it the Hoover? Is it something wrong with me? Where's this music coming from? And it was the most almost deafening sound of what I would now describe, if I was to find it on YouTube, it would probably be like Hark Angels or something. And I had my hand over my ears and I was like, oh my God, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? I couldn't figure out where it was coming from. It was coming within. And I actually ran to my mum crying. I was like, I can hear angels in my ears. My mum obviously said, well, you're just poorly. You're just poorly. You've got a sore throat. Your ears and your throat are connected. I obviously knew I was skiving school at a very young age. And I was like frozen, not understanding what had happened. And that kind of, to some degree, when I was younger, made me even more interested, but also made me slightly a bit like, ooh, about the whole angel thing. And my really good friend Nathan and Simon would say that they asked me maybe 4 or 5 years ago, do you believe in angels? Would you ever get into any of that? And I literally was like, no. What I now know is, as I said, I went through lots of different experiences as a child with these things going on and things I would see. I used to do visualizations. I would lay on the grass with my eyes closed and pretend to be somewhere else. I would see things, apparitions, before they happen. Yet when I would have very vivid dreams as well, it just became a bit of a family joke, rightly so. I had a dream, and it used to just be like brushed off. And I then formed a belief that I'm just a dreamer, that it's not real, that it's all in my imagination, that even though I knew something within me was I felt like I was here for a reason. I felt it from a very, very young age. And I almost put it to one side. In fact, not almost, I did put it to one side, and then I kept it very personal. I used to have crystals as a child, and I would keep them to myself. I would rarely share them with people at school and stuff. So fast forward to, let's say I've literally made like the tiniest little notes, but say fast forward to 6-7 years ago. And I was building my first little work from home business around lots of other little things that I was doing. I'm going to have a look through here shortly. And I came across personal development. And I remember hearing something that Oprah was, and I was like, who is this lady, Oprah? Oh my God, she talks with so much wisdom. And it was so, I made it all consuming in my life, because I would hear little words that would resonate, sentences that would, like, the only way I can describe it is like bring me to my knees. Many a times behind closed doors, I've literally been brought to my knees with a realization, with this feeling of there's just more to life. How are we in this world in war and depression, when if we look outside and people are dying of cancer and this, and yet here we are bitching and moaning? And it used to literally, I'd have tears coming down, having these, what I now know and refer to as a spiritual crisis. I just thought I was freaking losing my mind. And this personal development was the closest thing that I had to understanding who I was and unraveling these little bits and paths of, this is what I'm meant to be doing. This is speaking to my soul. That then led me down my coaching path. And I began to get lots of coaching myself. I went through quite a depressive, I'm going to use that word, and very anxious stage of my life. I got in lots of trouble with drugs, abusive people, verbally. I got pushed around a little bit. It was, yeah, I went down a couple of sticky paths, let's say. And for those of you that have no doubt heard me share little clips about this, it was very much about having the resilience to bounce back, having the courage to walk away from what isn't serving you. And damn right I did. But it took me to hit rock bottom many times to get through those. And upon reflection, whether that was days, weeks, months later, I would then begin to try to piece together what drew me to those people. Why would I put myself in that danger? I knew it was dangerous. I knew people had guns, yet I still went there. I knew what would happen if you take drugs. I knew what I was doing wasn't who I was. Why would I do that? And on reflection, and you're going to hear me say this a lot, because I want you to start thinking now, what have you been through in your life? Be a shitty job where the manager is just, let me just see, have we just, video just stopped and the boys come up on the swings? Okay, I know I'm live on YouTube. What is going on Facebook? Come on. Hello, hello. Are we back on? Are we there? Hello? No, right, I'm gonna end broadcast.